Welcome friends, LostScarf here, and it's time for a new series, and this one's called Rapid Fire. The idea here is it's doing one-shots but in shorter format and doing a couple of them in one video. The reason for that is we get about a dozen indie games a week, and not all of them are amazing, deserving of the full one-shot treatment, but they are alright, and I kind of still want to cover them because I like them for different reasons. So this is a way to do a bunch of indie games in a smaller format, but giving you why I like them, why I recommend them, and who they might fit for, just doing a quick overview of each one, and see how that goes. I think it might work out pretty well. So we're going to cover Mike Dies, which is a platformer, we're going to cover Ninja Tycoon, which is a tycoon game with a ninja village, and we're going to cover Heroes of Hammerwatch, a multiplayer dungeon crawler game that can also be played single player. All are fun for different reasons, I recommend all of them, and you're going to see why in a moment. Mike Dies is a platforming game by Cydric Games LLC. It's $15 and it's really good for what it's trying to do. There are 300 levels and they're very cleverly and well designed. The way this game works is you're platforming. You can walk, you can jump, and you can hover. That's all you can do. And there's levels that will utilize all these things. Because the way the game works is, as Mike, you're trying to get to these teleportation fields with your entire body. Some will just snap after a time limit, others will go as long as you're in there. After a while they just need to warm up to teleport you. But the thing is, if only part of you gets teleported, well, you lose that part of your body and you die horribly. So there's a lot of like mini fields that you're trying not to touch, because if you do, they'll kill you. If you take too long of them, they'll kill you. Also the snap ones will also happen, they'll kill you. A lot of things will kill you in this game. A lot of things. There's also laser beams that will be shooting beams that will kill you when they touch you. Other beams will be actually giving you the field, and you need to get them combined on you to get you to teleport. There's a lot of crazy designs there, and just so much to deal with. At the same time, you have characters who are trying to help and hurt you. You have an angel trying to help you. There's a giant evil eye that really does not like you. There's a client who doesn't like you either. There's a demon that you can't tell if he wants to help or hurt you, but he does a lot of different things that can kill you and help you out, and it's pretty nuts, and the levels are just really good. It's just crazy. Just done very well. There's a lot of secrets to find as well. Some are hidden walls, some are just cleverly combinations of the teleportation fields, or just finding spots that you can actually fit through, which is pretty great. You're trying to collect these orbs as well, and these orbs will unlock even harder areas. Then there's boss areas where just a lot of intense stuff is coming after you, but it's all doable. This is what I really like about this game, is it feels very skill-based. I never felt like the game was being like really dumb luck or something like that. If you know what you're doing, you play very well, you'll do well. The only times you really get screwed over, even if you're good at this, is the first time you've done a level you didn't understand some sort of mechanic, or it just, you have to learn through dying. It's kind of, sometimes that's how it is. But the game's very good, very rewarding, and there's a lot of mechanics as you go through. You learn a lot of things as you go. They introduce you to new mechanics, so there's interesting stuff like that. It's also fully voice acted. Not bad voice acting at all. The graphics aren't bad either. So it's a $15 game. People who really like platforming games, you'll definitely want to pick up this game. Those of you who are kind of okay with platforming games, then maybe wait for the sales, but I do recommend this game. Ninja Tycoon is a $5 game by Endless Loop Studios. You build up and manage a ninja village as you plot to take over the world. You start out with a small village making worker houses and ninja huts while gathering wood and gold. Eventually you'll be sending out your ninjas on missions to gain more gold and supplies. They also level up their stats with the mission, so that's helpful right there. Eventually you unlock more buildings like training halls, blacksmiths, and medical help, especially if you get injured. You also need to gain more supplies like stone, iron, and diamond for more upgrades as you expand your village. Now when it comes to stats of your ninjas, you train them in stealth, attack, support, and agility. These stats are needed to complete the various missions that can be available to you, with big gold missions appearing eventually as well. Now the missions aren't completely safe, you can fail or succeed in them, but eventually the harder missions can result in injury or even death, so you gotta be very smart about that when that happens. While this is all going on, enemy clans will be sending their warriors out to attack your village, so you always need to have some defenses prepared to protect your village, because if you have all your ninjas out during a raid, well then you have no protection and your village can be destroyed, so you always want to be prepared. You can also further level your ninjas with equipment and specialization training to make them the ultimate ninjas. Once you've conquered a region, you can send a couple of your best ninjas out to another area to set up an outpost, and the gameplay loop starts again with more bonuses and challenges. This game is perfect at $5. You'll have a couple hours of fun as you learn and conquer the game. What makes things even better is that the dev is open to feedback and improving the game. The ninjas you can get have their names pulled from your friends list, but it would be great if you could name your ninjas or your village. That'd be awesome right there. They've also been making nearly daily updates as they improve the game and fix bugs, so the game is getting even better. At the end of the day, I really recommend this game because there's something about it, like, Have you ever had a Ninja Tycoon game? No, so it's fun to do that, and if you can name your ninjas, then you can make Naruto or other ninja anime. Like, you can have a Hattori Hanzo and things like that. That'd be really fun. Or just name all your friends these ninjas and just go to town with them. That'd be a really fun thing to do. That's why I recommend it. It's just a fun concept, and it's just getting better. Heroes of Hammerwatch is a $12 game by Crackshell. They made the original Hammerwatch game. They also made Siri Sam's Bogus Tour, if you're interested in that. Now, this is a roguelike dungeon crawler that can be played with up to 4 players online, but you can play it solo as well if you're into that. It is the usual I live, I die, I live again style roguelike game. Now, the characters you have at the beginning are a paladin, ranger, sorcerer, and warlock. You can make as many as you want of these different characters. You get to name them, change their colors. A lot of little bits of customization, which is nice. But at the base, the paladin is your close-range fighter. He can dash around, he can sword swing, and he can block projectiles. Nice to have as your frontliner, of course. Then the ranger shoots from behind them. They can do a bunch of damage. They have a bomb to help when they're getting chased by enemies. Sorcerer, of course, has the least amount of HP of all of them, but the most magic. They do ranged attacks. The cool thing about the sorcerer is their shots bounce off enemies and walls to hit more things, which is pretty cool. And then they also drop a big pillar of ice, which does damage. Then there's the warlock, who has a poison sword for close-range fighting, which makes them lethal. But they also have a lightning bolt attack that spreads around and splashes to a bunch of enemies. So that's pretty cool there, too. Each has different stats to their HP and their mana, and also regenerates. Like, the sorcerer has no HP regen, but a lot of magical regen, while the paladin, of course, has the most physical HP regen in the game. But they just have different mixes to them that make them all interesting and fun to play. I like all of them. I'm having fun with all of them. And as you level them up, they get even more abilities. Like, paladin eventually gets lay hand, and there's like a laser beam for one of the characters, and just a bunch of different things that you can do, which is pretty awesome. And there's 3 more characters you can unlock as you level up your town. Now, the gameplay loop is this. You'll create a character the first time, after that just picking your character, and you go into the dungeon. There you'll kill monsters for XP and pick up gold and ore, and then you'll maybe find upgrades as you're going down there for the current run or equipment, and eventually you'll die and you'll go back to the surface. Now, when you're down in the dungeon, there are places where you can send your gold and your ore back up to the surface. This is the only way to get your stuff back to the surface, so any ore and gold you have when you die in the dungeon is lost forever. So you have to keep mindful of that and send stuff up to the surface every floor. There's at least one spot to do it every floor. You gotta remember that, especially with the ore, because ore is used to upgrade your town, while gold is used to buy things. Like, you can buy upgrades to your characters, you can also buy equipment that you can use for your current run, and then you'll lose that when you die. There are over 100 items in the game that you can use as your equipment from the shop, but also from the dungeon itself, just from random finding. That's how roguelikes work. And it's pretty cool, and there's just a lot of interesting variety to them. The game is perfectly playable with a mouse and keyboard or a gamepad, which is very useful if you like one or the other. The visuals are good and the music is great, but the music will get a little samey eventually since it's one track per dungeon section. Like, you'll go through a couple floors and fight a boss, and you'll go to a new area, and that new area will have its own song, which is pretty cool right there. Now, the thing to keep in mind is you can play it alone or with a bunch of people. If you play it alone, the game's going to be a lot grindier, a heck of a lot grindier, but it's still a fun game. But keep that in mind if you're considering buying this as a single-player experience. So that right there is the rapid fire. The idea here is to just, as I said before, do these in a shorter format for these games, because some of these indie games are just not, like, for everyone. They're not a big mass appeal, but some people might like them, and they just don't, like, when I do the one-shots, I want to go over so much about them. But with games like this, I feel like it's better to just be short and concise with them, because it's more for maybe a niche than for a wider audience, if that makes any sense how I'm saying this. Like, these games are almost great, but they're not there. Like, Mike Dies is very interesting, but it is just a lot of platforming. You just jump and you hover, and that's really what it is. It's really good for a certain audience, that's why it's here. When it comes to Hammerwatch, that is a pretty fun game. It is a pretty good dungeon crawler, but it can get repetitive, which is one of my problems with it. But it is pretty good, but it's also the niche of you kind of want to have buddies. Like, there is a small population playing this game, but I think you want to have buddies as well to play this game, although it is a good single-player offering, but you need to really like a dungeon crawler for it. And then there's Ninja Tycoon, which has a lot of potential to be amazing, but in its current form, it's not there yet, unfortunately, but it could be there. It's also just for people who just like Tycoon games. That is a niche as well right there, but there is potential, like I just said. So there's the rapid fire. I like this idea. I want to keep working on it and making it better. So if anyone has any feedback on how it could be improved, let me know. I think we're doing like an overview of it, why I recommend it, who I think it might be for. I'm also going to talk price when it comes to the rapid fires, just because I feel like that is kind of important. That does impact why I think they are worthwhile, at least in this format. And also why I will say, like, people who, like when it comes to Mike Dies, why I said people might like it at 15 or they might like it cheaper. When it comes to Ninja Tycoon, it's a $5 game, pretty good value right there, pretty good for the right people. Hammerwatch is a $12 game. For the right people, it is good at that price. For other people, it might be better if maybe there's a pack sale or something like that. That would work more for them. This depends on what happens, but I think I'm going to experiment with talking about prices when it comes to the rapid fires, because that might be a worthwhile discussion going on with that. But that right there is the video. I have fun making it. I hope you have fun watching it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.